Hey class, this is Mr. Roberts, and I'm going ahead and recording a look at the solutions to the Chapter 7 test. Um, this may be helpful, it may be not. If you find that you kind of need to talk through these with someone, um, generally I'm available at lunch, or there's someone in the classroom that's willing to talk about problems at lunch. So come on by and we'll see if we can't help you figure out what's going on. Always have your test with you so we can kind of take a look at maybe what you did wrong and kind of address your individual issue. But anyways, let's go ahead and start taking a look at these. So question one says, simplify each expression completely. Your answer may not contain negative exponents. So part A has in parentheses this 3x to the negative second power. And I'm going to choose to get rid of that, excuse me, by multiplying by 3x to the positive second power over 3x to the positive second power. Again, the thinking is totally allowed to multiply any expression by the number 1, which this is, provided x isn't 0, but I digress. And because these are opposites, right, when I combine them, it becomes 3x to the 0 power, which just equals the number 1. So in my numerator now, I've got the number 1, and in the denominator, we have two things. We have the 2x squared that we started with, and we have the 3x, and then that's squared in parentheses. Very important. That means something. So if I was to expand this out, um, just to be very clear what exactly I have here, in the denominator there is a 2, and then there's an x times an x, that's 2x squared. And then I have a 3x, and I have another 3x because this 3x is getting squared. So if I look at this, in the denominator there's 1, 2, 3, 4 factors of x. So it's x to the 4th power. 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 times 3 is 18. So my answer is 1 divided by 18x to the 1, 2, 3, 4th power. So of course I'll write that right here. This is 1 over 18x to the 4th. Let's look at B. B, let's see, there is a 3x, or I'm sorry, there is an x squared that's getting raised to the 3rd power. So if I was going to look at just this part, right, that's going to be x to the 6th power. So I've got, so let's write that. Well, and then let's look at this part right here. What's this? This is going to be x to the 2nd power. So if I look at it, I can write this as x to the 2nd, that's x to the negative 3rd, times x to the 5th, that's x to the 2nd. And then I'm multiplying it by x to the 6th power. So my answer here is just x to the 6th, 7th, 8th, x to the 8th power. And I'll write it right here. This is x to the 1/8 power. And then finally, for part C, let's see, probably I'm going to deal with this negative exponent because there is parentheses around it. So I'm going to multiply it by 4x to the 2nd power in both the numerator and the denominator. When I do that, again, we just pointed this out before, this 4x to the negative 2nd times 4x to the 2nd just makes 4x to the 0 power in my numerator, which is 1. But still living in the numerator is x to the 3rd. So I've got an x to the 3rd in the numerator. I'm sorry, an x to the 3rd. A y to the 3rd is in the numerator. And then, of course, the other two things combine to make the number 1. And then in my denominator, there is a 2x, whoops, a 2 times x. And then there's a 4x and another 4x. And that's because of these parentheses, right? What's getting squared here is 4 times x. When I see 4x squared, that's just 4xx, right? A 4 times an x times an x. But when I see 4x squared, that's a 4x times 4x. 4 times 4 is 16, right? So that's 4 times 4 is 16, times 2 is 32. So in my denominator, well, first of all, the numerator is y cubed. In my denominator, I've got 32, and then I've got x to the 1, 2, 3, so x to the 3rd power. So my answer is y cubed over 32x cubed, y to the third over 32x to the third. Okay, next,